everyone, John here, and I guess this is just another updating video of recent projects and stuff that I've been working on. And yeah, some real life stuff, just to get it out of the way. At the end of August or beginning of September, I'm going to be taking a hospitality course, which would mean that I'm going to be learning how to do barista stuff, bartending, food safety, first aid, and just general customer service. Just waiting tables and stuff. And so yeah, that's gonna eat up all of my free time on weekdays. So I've been trying to do a lot of projects before all my time's eaten up by that. And so yeah, to begin, I'm going to first talk about two of the repaints that I've done in the past week or so. Flavors Trey and my Pocahontas John Smith doll. So yeah, Trey is a Flavors Trey doll. He's mostly articulated in the top half of his body, like he has a torso joint here and posable elbows, but his legs were rubber, so it was very stiff. But I ended up taking out the hip connector and then stringing up mycene boy legs onto him. So he has his legs don't really match his body, but I guess it's better than nothing, considering that I dress most of my boy dolls in pants anyway. And yeah, he can finally sit and pose. And yeah, he did actually have flocked hair, but I removed it using acetone and I just like wiped it off completely. And so yeah, I just really wanted him just to have slightly less cartoony eyes and for him to look a little less exaggerated, just so he could fit in with my collection better. But yeah, I'm very happy that I finally got around to actually painting him and giving him a bit of a character, just because he's been sitting on my desk missing a huge amount of flocking and just generally being blank. So yeah, I'm very happy that I got that done. As for John Smith, I've had him since I was about 14, 15-ish. And I've held on to him for such a long time because he was one of the only male dolls that I had with really long hair at the time. And so yeah, he used to have like permanent marker on his face, because when I was much younger, I was really impatient and didn't want to learn how to paint using acrylics, so I drew on his face using permanent marker. And so for the last couple months, I've been treating all that staining using the 10% benzoyl peroxide pimple cream method. And so yeah, he's just been kind of sitting like on my shelf in between those dolls without a body. And so I went to Savers the other day and I found a First Wave Fashionistas Ken, which uses the 1999 Collector's Ken articulated body. But yeah. And so I put his head on here and I just felt really inspired to paint him up. Lately, I've just been really, really interested in trying to make a lot of my repaints look a bit more like collector's Mattel dolls, just because I realized that's kind of the style I really want a lot of my dolls to fit into, but I've just been really experimenting with different styles, and this is the style I feel has really that has like the most consistent results for me. So yeah, even though it's not exactly my style, I'm happy that my dolls finally are getting face-ups that I really like. Another project that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to upgrade all of my Barbie hybrids that are on live doll bodies, and I'm trying to put them on either fashionista, like jointed fashionista bodies, or made to move bodies, just because at the time when I bought made dolls live hybrids and stuff, there wasn't any real kind of jointed bodies available that had at least articulated wrist joints, and also came in other colors aside from LA Tan and Tropic Tan that Mattel was offering with the fashionistas. So one of the dolls that I've been meaning to put on a made-to-move body is this fashionista doll. I don't know what her official name is, but I've been calling her the Desiree sculpt, just because she uses that really big kind of smiling African American sculpt that was like used for Playline the first time for fashionista, used for Fashion Fever Desiree, and so that's just what I've been calling the sculpt. And so yeah, this head I've actually acetone shrunk, so it's like rock hard, just so that the head looks a bit more proportionate on a body. And so yeah, she's been stuck on a live body since I shrunk her head, but now that Made to Move did come out in skin tones like the nostalgia skin tone, I really love her face sculpt when it's shrunken down, because when I went home the other day, I took a group picture of my fashionista dolls from 2015 to 2016, and like, even though the other dolls had big playline scale heads, the Desiree sculpt, it's so big, it's so round, like it didn't really fit in. But since I hybrided this head onto the Made to Move body, I just fell in love with the sculpt all over again. Like, it's really unique and it looks really beautiful when it's like shrunken down and looks more defined and stuff. I decided to try acetone shrinking my Life in a Dream House Raquel head, because before, her head was so big, like it was almost my scene size. And like every time I tried to photograph her with other dolls, it did not look good at all. And so yeah, my Desiree doll, I did shrink it using just acetone nail polish, since that's a diluted form of acetone and doesn't smear the face and ruin the rooting rooting pattern. So I decided to look up online and see other people using the slower shrinking method, which is a diluted form of acetone and using pure acetone and water. And so I decided to try that with my dolls, because I'm not a huge fan of using nail polish remover just because it's so expensive, considering pure acetone is much cheaper by the liter. And yeah. So here is my Life in a Dream House Raquel. And so yeah, head is still playline big. Like if you get a doll from like the current playline, it's roughly the same size, but I actually feel more comfortable photographing her now, just because even though it's still big, it's not gigantic. And yeah, her head's still really squishy, so I assume that it might still shrink a bit more, since I did double soak her head for about a couple hours each time to let it shrink. But yeah, right now I am happy that the face is slightly smaller and her features are a bit more defined. I decided to just try shrinking my live-action Giselle head from the movie Enchanted, which I really love, by the way. And so, yeah, this doll, her head is, like, huge. It is, like, really massive, and even though I think it has a lot of personality and it's not ugly, it's really big, and it's also really hard to photograph my Playline dolls with. Shrinking Giselle. for this one. And yeah, I also put her on a made-to-move body, and even though right now I'm not really picky with what I collect, I still have certain standards when it comes to proportions, and just being able to fix this issue that I have with like really big heads, it makes my collection feel a bit more cohesive, and yeah, I'm very happy with it, because I do think the much larger playline heads are a lot more undefined and they look kind of washed out. But Giselle is she looks so cute with like other playline dolls now, and I'm just very happy with that. Lately I've been trying to collect dolls from the Fashion Fever era, just because I really am starting to appreciate the kind of dolls that I grew up with when I was first beginning in the doll hobby. So every time that I see a doll from 2006 with like a different head sculpt and stuff, I always want to snap. So I found Barbie Diaries Raquel, and I ended up putting her on a Glam Night Leah torso with made-to-move hands and ballerina pivotal doll legs. I've also heated the toes so they can actually fit shoes, but it's at a weird angle, so yeah. I already had a version of her before, but this one's hair is much nicer, like her face is a lot slimmer, and that she fits into my collection a lot more as is than my other Barbie Diaries Raquel. I ended up shrinking my first Barbie Diaries Raquel, and so like a size difference, just because she still has the same kind of width to her face. But I have taken photos of her, these two together, and you can see that a lot of things have shrunk, including like the length of her bangs now cover her eyebrows rather than like show them there. And that I'm much happier with this version of Barbie Diaries Raquel, just because her hair seems to like sit a lot better now that her head's a lot smaller, and that I don't know, I just think she has a lot of personality, and she was also on a live doll body for the longest time, so yeah, I've been able to find a couple more made-to-move Leah dolls. Surprisingly, the packaging of the new made-to-move Leahs, they have pictures of the dolls from the two new dolls of the new wave. So I'm hoping that means that Leah isn't being cycled out of the made-to-move line to make way for these two dolls. So yeah, these four all have acetone shrunken heads, and I'm very happy with the proportions. Like, I'm very happy that I don't have to reroute them, and yeah, they just look so much nicer to me than the big bloated kind of balloon heads. I actually dug around and found some old Ken doll parts that I've been holding on to for a long time, and I realized that I can make this work for my Emmett doll. So yeah, here he is. This is a combination of parts, actually. His torso and upper arms and his legs are all Mycene Boy body parts. The forearms are from a really weird floppy kind of G.I. Joe clone that had the arm screw in with screws. So the hands are from a knockoff Triad Alpha female doll, so I just put them onto Hot Toy clone wrist pegs. And then for his neck, I did use a Fashionista Ken neck, just so it could get the right length. Even though the new Collector Kens and Fashionista Kens, they do have the same kind of swivel neck. Collector Ken's necks, they're more actually part of the body, while there's less of the neck attached to the head itself. So it requires like a longer neck, while Fashionista guys have the neck sculpted into the head, and so the necks on the bodies are much shorter, so it's very hard to hybrid them. Neck itself, I actually cut off the top of a fashionista Ken doll and glued it onto here. But weird thing is that even though the fashionista necks are thick, they're little thinner and flatter than the old style Ken necks. So it was always this kind of weird ridge here. And so yeah, since I acetone melted a bunch of hard plastic parts for my shortened Frankie body, I realized that I could just get more melted plastic parts and then just like melt it into a paste, then like add it in layers around the neck just to make the joint a lot smoother. So I did that, sanded it down, and painted it all up. So yeah. Leading on from that, when I was younger, I've made a lot of customizing mistakes, and one of them was my Superman Returns Ken doll. This is my original one, so as you can see, I cut away a lot of its neck. Last year, I did find a mint condition Superman Returns Ken doll at Savers, but you know how it goes with projects. Like, I can't let go of a doll part if I know I can save it. So yeah, this is the one. This is the more mint one, so you can see his neck is attached to his head. And when I was younger, I really hated the way his neck just kind of flared out here. So I thought, oh, I could fix that by like cutting it just a bit off, and it just resulted in a really messy kind of mod. So I've just been kind of regretting doing that ever since. But when I got a bit older, I realized I could have just I could carve into his head to make it fit onto this onto the more kind of like modern collector Ken necks. But since I was really overzealous as a kid, I cut away too much vinyl. So every time I tried to find a replacement body for him, the necks were either too short or were too skinny. So yeah, the pivotal Ken necks, they're way too skinny for this modded head. But fashionista guy necks were the perfect width, but they were too short. And so last year I did try to put the top of the fashionista Ken neck onto a older style Ken body, but I really hated the huge gap there was on his neck, because I can handle if there was like a neck joint here and a neck joint down here, but I don't like it if it's like really close together. So yeah, I melted even more plastic from a chewed up Barbie, but she was the same skin tone as him. So I melted parts of that torso down, and then I just add layers around the neck here, and I just sanded it all down, and you can see there's a tiny seam there, but it isn't glaringly obvious in most photos and in day-to-day like interactions with him. I finally have all three of my Superman Return Ken dolls, like, kind of completed. And yeah. These two were like huge customizing mistakes. But I guess I was able to fix them up, like, after 10 years of owning them. So yeah. I guess I should do a Dolly Doubles video soon, just because I do actually have a lot of double dolls. With my rerouted Jasper, if you can see, I did end up painting his eyebrows blue to match his hair, and I'm so happy that I did that, just because it looks less like a wig now and looks more like, you know, he's some kind of guy who grew his hair blue. And yeah, there's nothing really special for me to say about his body. Like, I spray painted it, and yeah, like, the match is pretty good, and yeah. like, I love him, and I'm very happy he has a posable body now, but yeah. Only Hearts Club Katrina doll. I don't know how I feel about these dolls, because when I was younger, I really wanted to own one of them, but I think that was more because I really wanted friends for my Todd doll, rather than actually liking the dolls. I really don't know how to feel about the default look, just because, when, the thing is that, like, they don't have any paint around the eyes, and that the eyebrows are very sparsely painted. And the thing is that the eyes are dead set straight ahead, so, so the iris just fills up the entirety of the eye hole. But, so yeah, I just haven't been really motivated to try tracking down a Only Hearts Club. But I did find this doll at Savers wearing her complete outfit, like, sewn into a soft, plushy body. So this is what her original body looked like. It's just soft fabric with a wire armature in it. And it's really kind of, it's not really playable if you are into playscale dolls. So, I actually found her a couple weeks ago, I think. And she's kind of been laying around because I really don't know what I want to do with this body. And I really didn't want to order a 21 centimeter Obitsu or a extra small A-Zone body. Because she does have a really pale skin tone, so I can't even like go out and get her a Jack-specific fairy body for her. Because all the other dolls are like really kind of, they are a little too pink for her. But, I was digging around through my spare parts and I found my Ever After High Apple White body. I did cut off Apple White's feet to put in these articulated Disney Store feet that I actually pulled out from another doll leg. But then I put that body right next to this one. I'm like, huh, that's kind of the same scale, even though the neck is like really thin. But yeah, I guess this fits for now, just because I really don't want to like invest any more money into this kind of $2 doll that I got. And I don't know if I actually like her or just like the scale she's in. But yeah, I ended up moving her eyes to look to the side. Her eyes they didn't stay there, side glancing, so I had to stuff a bit of tissue behind her eye, when I heated it up. So yeah, but her eyes are now, they show a lot more whites in her eyes, so she doesn't look as dead looking. I also gave her some eyelashes, like paint around her eyes, just to define them a bit better. And yeah, I think she has a lot more personality now that she's on a jointed body. She has like custom face, like her face has a bit more detail on it. And yeah, and her hair is not as awful as it was when I first bought her. So yeah. I also put this eye hole Obitsu head on this Scara Monster High body. And even though I really like the proportions, I just don't like the eyeball head sculpt. So I'm thinking of like carving out the tiny eye and then just making it into a Cyclops. Because I do have a couple spare eyes from my ball jointed doll days, and I'm thinking like, I think that would be an interesting custom, but yeah. Coming doll things, there is a doll event happening in 2 weeks, so if you guys think I should make a video detailing that, please let me know in the comments or wherever I share this. So yeah. And also, one last thing before I go, shout outs. One of my doll friends, Andrea, aka Dolls Ahoy, she started doing doll videos, so I'm very excited about that. So please go check out her channel. Links are down below. And also, you should watch What If Chris's Wine and Dolly's videos, because Because yeah, like these two doll collectors, they're probably some of the closest in similar tastes to how they approach the doll hobby. So to how I do it. So yeah, I definitely think you got everyone. If you're watching this, please check those two out and give them your support. Just anyway, thank you so much, and hope to see you guys again soon.